I'm Maraleen Manos-Jones, and I'm here to talk about the importance of saving our pollinators. Butterflies, for example, have been on our planet for about 70 million years. Actually, it's estimated maybe even 150 million years. But it's up to all of us to make sure that they continue to grace our planet. As you know, we are losing so many species every single day. Why is it important to save butterflies, bees, bats, and birds? Not only for their beauty, which is immense, not only how they grace our planet and lift our hearts, they are incredibly important as part of our food production. If we do not have our pollinators, we will not have at least 50% of our food. And that is a crisis that is in the making now. Let's take our iconic monarch butterfly. Monarch butterfly. It's ubiquitous. It's all over North America and Central America, and we've lost 90% of the monarchs over just the last 20 years. Why is this happening? And I will say, monarchs are an indicator species. If they go, so go the bees, the birds, the bats, and everything else. The whole tapestry of life, unwinding before our very eyes, and because of us humans, and our massive imprint on this planet. So why are we losing the monarchs? For many years, I will just say, monarchs and butterflies have guided and inspired my life for over 40 years now. Almost 40 years ago, I went searching in the mountains of Mexico, looking for the place where hundreds of millions of monarchs overwinter, migrate from Canada and the US, all the way down to the mountains of Mexico, hang out for the winter. And I was the first woman from the States, second person to find them. And when I found the monarchs overwintering habitats in Michoacan in the spring, actually the first day of spring, 1977, I was guided to a place of about 100 million monarchs mating on the first day of spring. An amazing pas de deux, a beautiful dance. And then after the mating ritual, the females fly up north to begin to lay their eggs, and the cycle begins again. When I was in Mexico, I've been going back almost every year since then, and I worked for many years. All of us thought, the monarch scientists and the citizen scientists thought that the problem was deforestation in and around the monarch habitats in Mexico. So I worked with a small nonprofit, and I helped plant over 6 million trees. And that's another long story, but we won't address that at this moment. About 4 years ago, my attention too, was brought here to the States. And what we realized, or what has been realized, and the scientists have proven it unequivocally, as we have increased our use of pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides, the population of our bees and butterflies correlates exactly with, as the pesticide use goes up, the bees and the butterfly population go down. This is a very serious issue. in the middle of the United States in the breadbasket, which is the traditional breeding grounds of the monarch butterfly, actually we've lost 98% of milkweed that grows in the center of this country. So why is that important? Milkweed is the only plant on which monarch butterflies can lay their eggs. Each of the 17,000 different butterflies have a specific plant on which they can lay their eggs. For monarchs, it's the milkweed. So, with the rise of genetically modified crops, which are embedded with pesticide resistance, they can then be saturated with pesticides, Roundup, which contains glyphosate, which is absolutely shown to kill bees and butterflies. In fact, milkweed has traditionally grown on the sides of cornfields. Now that like 90% of all the corn in the United States is genetically modified, there's no milkweed in sight. Not only no milkweed, no weeds, no wildflowers, nothing. Iowa, for instance, has lost 98.7% of all its milkweed. And if you were to look at aerial shots of the Midwest, of the soy, which is like 89% of all soy is GMO, and corn, there is a dead zone in the middle of our country. And what do I mean by that? We have killed every wildflower, every weed. What is a weed is just a gift that we didn't plant. There's no food for the bees. There's no food for the birds. You will not see a bee, a bird, a wildflower, a snake, a frog. Nothing. Nothing is living except your GMO crops. Major problem. But in addition to that, you say, well, I can't do anything about that. But there is something that you can do something about. In the United States, there are 33 million acres of lawns. And lawns use more pesticide per acre than big agriculture. How many of you use that stuff to kill those dandelions? Make sure that that grass is equally green and not a weed in sight. No plantain, no violets, no... Well, we, ladies and gentlemen, by creating these lifeless lawns, have just created dead zones around where we live. The animals, the children, all filled with pesticides. We're filled with pesticides. They accumulate. We are guinea pigs in this whole thing. It's wake-up time. It's wake-up time. All right, so we all know someone who probably uses pesticides on their lawns. Each one, reach out and teach one. Become educated yourself. There is a lot of information on two of my websites, www.spiritofbutterflies.com and www.pollinatorfriendlytowns.org. On both those websites, there are many articles, scientific papers, reports that tell you about what we are doing and the effect it has on our planet. Because these pesticides and herbicides and fungicides not only kill our bees and butterflies and birds, but it goes into the water. It goes into the soil. soil is alive. It has so many microorganisms. We can't, if you kill everything in it, it will not be great soil anymore. So, I say, we can save our planet one garden at a time. That's your garden, my garden, small garden, large garden, a window box in front of your house. It doesn't have to be like Winston Churchill, who in his great estate in Kent, England, started in 1946, after World War II, an extensive butterfly gardens. And he raised over 1,500 butterflies every summer. Now, we all don't have estates like Winston Churchill. Every single garden is important. Now, what you put in that garden is also really important. Gardening, I think, is one of Americans' #1 pastimes. And 48% of all plants that are bought for our beautiful gardens are bought in big box stores. What does this mean? Every plant in a big box store has been treated chemically with pesticides from the time it's a seed until it's a beautiful plant for you to take home. That beautiful plant with not an insect mark on it, you take this beautiful plant and put it in your garden, and you're luring the pollinators to their death. We maybe can make a difference in that. Maybe each and every one of us needs to go, when we go to the big box stores, and ask, will you have any native plants without pesticides? Because perhaps if they believe that money is to be made with non-toxic, non-pesticide-laden plants, aha, there's money to be made, they will sell it. Now, as of right now, we are in the middle of November. The monarchs have been arriving in Mexico. They're actually on time this year. We'll see how many arrive. Last year, for instance, I was in Mexico. Remember when I said, when I first went there on this particular mountain, Cerro Pelon, there were 100 million butterflies? I was on that same mountain this year, in January 2014. I went to celebrate the 100th birthday of a beautiful mountain woman, and there were only 3 million butterflies, where there used to be 100 million, on less than an acre versus over 50 or 60 acres. Big drop. So, how can we help? How can you help? Mother Nature needs you. The town of Olive has voted to protect pollinators. The town of Shandaken has voted to protect pollinators. I have given a lot of information and did a presentation to the Saugerties town board, but they have not moved. I think over 100 people from Saugerties have signed the pledge to protect pollinators, but won't you help? Won't you sign the pledge? Won't you urge your town officials? It's now, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the precipice of losing our pollinators. And this has terrible implications for the future. And the near future and the far future. There's so many challenges that we're all facing. Yes, our planet is facing. But The effect of a butterfly's wing can be felt around the world, and that's certainly, we know that for every negative act reverberates, but every positive act also reverberates out into the world. So plant your gardens. Talk to your neighbors. What am I asking you to do? I'm asking you, don't use pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides. Plant native plants, shrubs, and trees, and you'll get all the native species. Plant milkweed, or at least don't cut it unless it interferes with farmers. And don't plant GMOs. That's it. No one is asking for money. Haha, isn't that amazing? But I'm asking for you to take responsibility for the little piece of earth upon which you stand. Because we're all free to be whoever we are, but we share our resources, our water, our air, or the bounty of our planet, the fruits and vegetables and all the wonderful things that our planet provides for us, and we have a responsibility. So there are so many stories that I could share, but I think you have the idea, and you know what you have to do. So may I say, once again, please visit my websites, www.spiritofbutterflies.com, and now that it's cold in the evening, there are 4 videos on that website. One is my presentation to the Olive Town Board, asking them to approve and become a pollinator protector, and they have. There's part 1 and 2 of my butterfly garden tours, so on a cold night, sit on your warm couch and take a walk through some beautiful gardens. Get inspired. And the 4th video is very short. It's an excellent adventure I had with a late emerging monarch that, actually it's just 2 years ago, Southwest Airlines flew me and a monarch in early November to San Antonio, Texas, where there was a beautiful ceremony. We let her go, and she can continue her beautiful migration, miraculous migration. So, www.pollinatorfriendlytowns.org. Email me. I'll put your name and on that website to show that you stand up as a pollinator protector. And we have to work locally in our towns, in our counties, in our state, in the country, on our planet. We have a beautiful planet. So, Mother Nature needs you. Thank you.